I'm really privileged to be on the same stage as two cricketing buddies of mine. Happen to have the privilege of playing in the same club with Murali. For those who are not from a cricket playing country or where cricket is a religion, I'm going to use some cricket jargon, so you'll have to forgive me. Muralitharan's got 800 test wickets. I don't think in 5 generations that record will be broken. We won the World Cup also because of Aravinda and Murali. And it's a real privilege for me to have you both here. So let me start by talking to you, Murali, about Murali's life post your leaving cricket first. My understanding is that both of you are now tycoons, business tycoons. I just want to know what have you been doing? I know what you've been doing. You've been doing a lot of charity. You've been an entrepreneur. Post your leaving your hanging your boots and literally leaving the cricket field.
No, I'm not a business tycoon or anything. So just a cricketer who played for Sri Lanka and made proud of Sri Lanka. So when I finished, see, when we started playing cricket, it was not professional. It's amateur game for us because everyone used to work in an insurance company or a private company and banks, and you get duty leave and come for only 3 hours of practice. Within that, capable of, we used to do wonders at the time because the players like caliber of Aravinda Silva and Arjuna Ranatunga, so those guys who are suffered more because when 1983 only we got a test status, 82 I think, 82. Since then they were playing and we joined only later part. It's a little bit better part. 91 onwards, little bit better part we had because more matches we got because of their hard work. The other countries used to respect us and give some matches at least in home there. So that's why we could establish. So it was hard. So that's why we need to do something beyond cricket because playing is something for the country and also it's not thinking about making life out of it. Life is all about get a work somewhere else, whoever had. So fortunately, my father had a 1954 onwards a biscuit factory. So I used to know a little bit of biscuits, and also when I started playing for Sri Lanka, joined Union Assurance to work somewhere. And you have to get the expenses because you not depend on the father. So you depend on yourself to get some work money to your expenses. So that's why everyone does because most of the I'm one fortunate one to have that. So other than that, we after cricket we would always thought what we have to do. So my thing is I wanted to like my footstep of my father manufacturing. So get into that. So when I collected money, little bit of help from father, when I was playing itself, I started put a factory in 1998. So that is grown up with my brothers. So I have 3 brothers with them. So that is what now we do manufacturing. We have got into India as well. And
tied up with Reliance from what I...
Yeah, Reliance are making a cola for them, manufacturing. Then other than that is cricket-wise, everyone has interest to be in cricket. So only way be in cricket is in the IPL. So I got the opportunity. What generation I played for team for 7 years of IPL. So that recognition we got into the Sunrisers as a coach and a mentor. So that gives me nearly about 2 months, 3 months, think about cricket, be in cricket because always a cricketer always want to be thinking about they miss playing and sometimes miss the dressing room attention and everything. So that I get from IPL. So that's why I just be there. Other than that, got a small charity with Kushal Gunasekar, the Foundation of Goodness. So work for that. And then also whatever way I could with the family spend and then the business little bit. That's where I just take it easy.
But knowing your charity work, I think you're being very modest. I know when you were still playing cricket in 2004, when the tsunami hit us, you told Kushil, rather than building 250 houses, you want to build 1,000 houses. And I know you were sleeping in rest houses. Is that story correct? That you actually managed to raise money to build 1,000 houses for those whose houses were damaged by the tsunami?
Yeah. Houses means it's not like luxury houses. It's like small houses because they when nothing, everything gone in Sinigama area. So the people were suffering, they need. So we had this foundation there. So we need to. So not only my help. So like, help up like Aravinda, like former cricketers, not from in our country even. Even Shane Warne helped us from there, and also from England, so many players throughout, Indian players all contributed. So what they did is they played matches or charity matches and collected money, and those money came into these houses. Not only because effect was we were pushing it, but with the cricketing community only I could do these things. Because of this cricket only everything came, not only doing charity, business, everything. So the game has given everything and the country has given me everything. So the charity was, see, what I always thought is, even Aravinda has also same theory we have. See, when we go into a play a match, people come and enjoy and they pay and come. If they don't know spectators, they don't pay and come, there is no salary for a cricketer. So always they are helping us to become someone, because with our talent, I'm not saying because talent also something else, that we are capable of doing this, but somebody has to support us. The game somebody has to see.
Great. Yeah.
So that's why IPL or anybody, the public only supporting you. Same way, when the public needs us, so only way we can contribute through foundations like charities like this, to our contribution, what they are given to us, pay back them. That's what I always think.
Aravinda, coming to you. You've always been a very astute investor. I remember while you were playing cricket, you used to come to my house and say how you're buying property. But you now have a significant business interest in automotive. Tell me what makes Aravinda De Silva wake up every morning, I mean, in these days?
Well, good evening to all of you, and thank you very much for inviting me to this very, very important event. I think Thilan mentioned that we won the World Cup because of Murali and myself, which I don't agree. I think we won the World Cup because we had a very, very talented team, and it was a great team effort, and that was the main reason why we won that World Cup. And to his question, I think when we played cricket, I think we as kids, why we started playing cricket was mainly because of the passion we had towards the sport. And not only cricket, but we were very passionate about sports in overall aspect. So that was one reason why we got attracted to playing the sport and enjoying it. But as Murali mentioned, the time we played the game was not professional, but it was semi-professional. Um, I basically started in 1983. We got ICC status in 1981. But I think the guys prior to that really laid the foundation for us to actually get to test status. And I know not only the players, but there were quite a few administrators who spent their own money to make sure that we were able to get that status in 1981. And thereon onwards, I think after we won the World Cup in 1996, it laid the foundation for the country to actually develop some amazing cricketers, starting from Murali. I think when you talk about innovation, this summit, um, it shows the kind of innovation and the talent we had in our country. And we had some unbelievable, unorthodox kind of players from Dulip Mendis, and technically very sound players like Roy Dias. And of course, thereon we had unorthodox cricketers like Murali, Lasit Malinga, Sanath, whom I thought made a difference to the world stage of cricket. I think that is what this little island can produce. So if you really look at it, you'll be amazed that with 21 million people in this country, a population of 21 million compared to the other countries, large countries who are playing cricket like India with a 1.5 billion, UK with about a 75 million population, we still manage to produce the highest wicket taker in the world and the highest partnership, highest test score ever made by any test team. And also, um, we had the one day fastest 50 scored by Sanath, the fastest 100 scored by Sanath. It was broken recently, but and also the highest one day score before Australia broke that record. So I think the kind of innovation and the kind of talent this country possesses is amazing. And I think these kind of events really gives the opportunity for a lot of the people from overseas to come and see to their own eyes what this beautiful country can offer to this world in the future. So in my case, I got into doing business. He mentioned investments. As Murali mentioned, I had to always focus on something apart from cricket. So investments was one area which I really enjoyed, and I still keep enjoying mergers and acquisitions, and that's where my forte is, and that is something which I really enjoy, and it's like a challenge for me to look at some of those opportunities, and I keep doing that just to keep myself occupied now.
So would you say, Aravinda, that the Sanath and Muralitharan strategy of going for maximum run rates in the first few overs, which was a huge innovation at the time, laid the foundation for modern day T20? I mean, would you say that that was the case?
Well, I think that laid a foundation, but prior to that, I was on the ICC cricket committee, and I remember at that time there was a proposal which came from South Africa to say that they have found this new concept of T20, and whether they would approve for the domestic cricket in South Africa to uh, test the T20 concept in the South African domestic structure. And I remember we discussed about it and we said it's fine for you all to go ahead. And Sunil Gavaskar headed that committee. And we gave the green light for them to go ahead and play that uh, uh, 20 over concept and implement it in the domestic structure in South Africa. So ultimately, but I think India picked it up from there and thought the concept was a good one and really laid the foundation with the IPL, where I think at that time Test cricket was dying a little bit, but IPL coming through and then rubbing that influence on all formats of the other two as well had made cricket that much more interesting, and I think it really gave that little boost which cricket needed at the time.
Great. Murali, coming back to you. So when you joined the Tamil Union Cricket Club, I think I must have been captain or vice captain, I can't remember. You could turn up the ball even bowling on glass. I mean, you had a very consistent turn. But then something happened, because I noticed in the statistics, as we were discussing yesterday, in the first 7 years of your career, you took only 100 wickets. The following 10 years, you took 700 wickets. Now, what was the new innovation that came about so that your wicket-taking ability increased by several fold in the second half of your career?
Yeah. When I joined, Tamil Union, So at the time in 1990, I could say, and the first tour when Aravinda was captain, I went in 1991. It's a learning because when I thought taking so much of wickets in school, like taking the school record, and is whenever I bowl, I take a lot of wickets. So when I went to England in 1991, even in a side game, like not in a real game, to like against a county, I couldn't get a wicket because it's a conditions and it's so different because you play in a good warm weather in here. There it's cold. When you cold, you have to adapt yourself. The wickets are not going to turn as there. So many things because I played about 2 games, county games. So the opportunity given by them because main bowlers were there in the test. We played 1 test and 3 1 days in that. So I could play only side games. So that's a learning cave. So I, in my mind, also thought, am I good enough? When I finished the tour, I couldn't get 1 wicket even, and then I couldn't bowl. Only I can turn. I can't bowl straight, right? So when I came back, then I said, okay, I will join Tamil Union. I was playing for Tamil Union at the time, and I played full season. So I got keep on taking wickets there as well because it the confidence came back because I thought because you have to learn when you go to abroad the conditions and everything, you have to learn, you need experience. So that's why even I can remember sometimes we played I can remember even Aravinda remembers or not, I know I can clearly remember that against South Africa. um they won. They won the test match in SSC. Then we played in Tiron Fernando Stadium. It's a spinning wicket. So myself, Pial, and 3 spinners played from same school, right? So at the time, so we could easily win. Jonty Rhodes in the end. He was because I couldn't bowl. I couldn't bowl a straight ball. I was turning the ball every time. He know the prediction that ball is not going to hit the wicket, so he kicks. So, so then after the game, he came and told me, "Mo, if you want to be a better bowler, you have to learn how to bowl straight." See, in my thing, because I bowl differently, like in a wrist. Normal off spinners bowl with finger. So I didn't know how to bowl straight. So I didn't know. So I was just wondering that 4 5 years because in and out of the team, it's not regularly, not
If you were dropped from the team.
sometimes see not dropped because I've been the team, but I didn't play the matches because sometimes there was Ruan Kalpage was a spinner, then Don Arnusiri was there, like that other spinners were there, so Kumar Dharmasena was there, so there's a competition. So if I not performing great expectation of the team, sometimes you have to stay out. So one thing is how. So then I got an opportunity to go to Pakistan. First time we won the series there. So I saw this Saklin Mustaq. He just mesmerized our batsman because nobody knew that ball dosra that he just invented. He's only at the time he was 20 years. I was young.
That's when the word Dusra came for the first.
Yeah. So then he bowled and people are getting stumped, right? Not many people are not knowing the off spinner is bowling like a leg spinner sometimes. So then after the test match, I sat with him and I asked, how do you do that? So he said, he was showing me the fingers and everything he done. So when I came back, so how can I do it? So I just short distance tried. I took 3 4 years to get it right in 1998, 99 only I got it right. First time I bowled in the test match. It's all West Indies. First time I got a wicket is Carl Hooper in West Indies. Aravinda also played that match, right? So that's the first time I got. So then on the
Dusra, that was a
so Dusra is one thing that Aravinda said was right at the time because batsman is looking at you only one way. It's easy. There you have to expect ball is going other way. So batsman have to think whether which ball is going to other way. So then doubt creates, then only their mistakes happens. So I am not creating, I am only depend on the turn. See, turn sometimes big and same, sometimes it doesn't hit the wicket because it misses a lot. LBWs you won't get. When you bowl a straight ball, you get LBWs. This same thing in 1993 when we went to India, Kapil Dev. I sat with Kapil Dev and asked what he said. He said also same thing to me. When that time also, they also same thing they said, that you have to learn to bowl a straight ball. Otherwise, I can play you easily. So that made me to enhance my wicketing tally, because after that, when you're bowling a straight ball, batsman has to think about. But I didn't get many from Dusra, but I got the wickets from horse spin. But to putting,
Because of the uncertainty you create.
putting some doubts on the batsman.
Great. Great story. There's another great story. Now, when you were very unfairly called for chucking by Ross Emerson and Darrell Hare, you bowled a leg spin, right? Now, theory says that there's no way you can bend your arm when you bowl a leg spin, even if you were a bona fide chucker. Who made you do that? Because I thought that was an absolutely brilliant strategy. And Ross Emerson or Darrell Hare called no ball even when he bowled a leg spin.
No, that was planned before the match, because we knew then Aravinda and Arjunaya both was there, right? At the time, they said we have to have a plan, because this guy is going to umpire. He called you first in 95. Now 98, definitely this guy is going to call you something he will do. So then they all suggested, they knew that I can bowl leg spin. So they only suggested to me, if this goes, you start bowling leg spin. So that's why I bowled. It's not my thoughts or anything, because at the time, see, I was young, like 22, 23, like that time, you only think about playing and everything. You not think about your strategies and everything. Strategies all come from the captain, vice captain, the bigger senior players. So they only come and advise you what to do, what not to do. So that's the culture was. Now the culture is totally different. I was a mentor for the cricketers. They don't listen to a captain. They don't listen to their own thing. But those ways his culture is, there were, it's seriously, because there was no coach. We didn't have a coach. We have managers, assistant manager, assistant manager, assistant manager will coach. We didn't have physios, right? We didn't have. So we travel with only manager and assistant manager. That's it. So 15 players. So that's the way. So then you depend on totally on your senior players and the captain, because a young player going don't know the situations, no experience. With the experience, they will teach you what to do. So we follow those things. That's why we become better players and better thing, because of their advice, and we are following them. So these days, no, these days it is different, because these days some managers manage the cricketers, like outside managers. He doesn't even play cricket, but he will only think about how much money this player will make, not the performance inside. So that is the problem area of this generation. Not because that is not players' problem, because everyone has to have a manager this time. That is the trend. And that is the way, because if you are going to talk to a team, even to a selection, everything, they get involved. So those days, it's all about pure senior players depend on. So that's why we got a lot of lessons from what you are asking, everything planned by them. And we do that according to that.
So in 1996, Sri Lanka, we knocked Australia off its perch because they were winning, quite a bit. Now, I remember talking to Arjuna soon after winning the World Cup, how the team felt that you all were unfairly treated in the 95 tour of Australia, where various facilities given were inadequate, and then the no bowling incident. Was there some sort of pent-up anger, pent-up, mindset in you that said, we somehow have to teach these guys a lesson? I mean, I'm just asking maybe Aravinda.
Aravinda will tell that, because he is the better person to tell.
No, I think when we started the World Cup, there were two countries refused to come to Sri Lanka because there was a mishap which happened and a crisis. So Australia and West Indies decided not to tour Sri Lanka, but to play against Sri Lanka anywhere else was okay. But because the World Cup was hosted by Pakistan, Sri Lanka, and India, so the matches which were held outside, they were willing to go and play. But I must say at that moment, India and Pakistan came together, uh, put a team, and then showed the rest of the world that we are all together, and came and played an exhibition game just to make sure that and to show the world that Sri Lanka was a safe place to travel to, and we really appreciated that. Of course, then when Arjuna mentioned along the way that he would one at one point would like to face Australia in the finals. That would be his greatest opportunity to show Australia why we are a better side. So I think God probably helped us, brought both of us to the finals, and at the end we were fortunate enough to be the winners. But on some of the things Murali mentioned, I was just listening to him. He said that the current day players don't listen to anyone, but he would have ended up with about 1,500 wickets if he listened to us. When we asked him to bowl round the wicket, he never wanted to do so. He was a very stubborn little boy at the time. But I must say, he worked so hard. And in one instance, when we toured England, because it was so cold, and late in the night, you see Murali getting up, opening a window, and keeping one of the balls and doing this, just getting the fingers used to the cold weather. And then he comes onto the field when we are practicing. He is the first person to pick up a ball, and from 2:30 till 5:30 he wouldn't let anyone else bowl. So that's the kind of hard work he put in to achieve the 800 wickets. It didn't just come that easily. So I think credit to him, though he would have ended up with 1,500 wickets if he listened to us in the initial stages of his 7 years.
So that's a great story. So since we're talking on innovation, right, I just want to throw out a few things. Now, take the Dil Scoop, named after Dilshan of Sri Lanka, right? Then the West Indians pioneered the concept of bowling only 5 fast bowlers with no spinners. Then you had Sri Lanka, Pakistan coming up with this Dusra. Waka Yunis reverse swing, correct me if I'm wrong, right? Helicopter shot, Dhoni. Then you had the carom ball. I think Ajanta Mendes and then subsequently Ashwin. Then we had the knuckle ball. People tell me that it was Zahir Hussain, right? Zahir Khan of India. Then you had the round arm sling action. Malinga was the first. And the outside the off stump York out was also an innovation. Now, this tells me that a majority of innovations in cricket over the last 30 years has been in the global south. Am I correct in saying that? And if so, what more is there that we can do to remain at the top? Because we are, the global south that now are producing, have produced the most innovations in cricket.
Yeah, well, I have a story for this. In fact, I told some of these coaches also, in the olden days, we had all this talent in Sri Lanka, and we used to bring coaches from England, and how they used to teach us to play in the V and make sure that we don't play any cross-bat shots in the first few overs. And then came Sir Garfield Sobers to coach us in 1983, and I happened to be at a training session, and so if no one knows who Sir Garfield Sobers is, one of the greatest cricketers ever to come out of the West Indies in the 60s. So he came to coach us, and all these technically correct batsmen was batting, and couple of the guys who started like Arjuna started slogging some of the left-handers, left-arm bowlers, and his eye went straight to Arjun and not to any of the other guys who were playing technically correct cricket at the time. And so when someone was bowling on the offside, and if he was working the ball on the leg side, he said, "Very good shot." But the English coaches were saying, "That's a ball on the offside. You better play it on the offside." So, so ultimately, we realized that anyone who was unorthodox was more successful, of course, with a lot of hard work, than the ones who were playing stereotype cricket. And today it had proved that innovation has really changed cricket overall. And also, I think now the problem is that the Sri Lankan coaches are more like the olden day English coaches, trying to focus more on technique than getting these children to go out and enjoy themselves and make sure they play their natural game and just get the best out of their natural talent rather than molding them into sort of robo type cricketers. I think this was a very good example of how much of talent Sri Lanka has and the Asian region has because of the agility and the hand-eye coordination they have from playing cricket on various soils, playing on the beach, gives them that much more flexibility and agility to be innovative other than most of the other cricketers.
I can vouch for Aravinda's hand-to-eye coordination because any ball sport, he can kill it. Whether it's table tennis, billiards, I mean, apart from cricket, and of course, anything connected to fast cars. So, Murali, I want to come to you. A slightly provocative, controversial. You have said, I have heard you saying that if you run to become the president of the Sri Lanka Cricket Board, that you will never win. But I'm going to ask you this question. I don't want to know the reasons. I'm going to ask you the question. If you were made president of the cricket board tomorrow, we know we are going through a difficult time in cricket right now. What would you do? What are the 3 things that you would, or 4 things that you would do?
First thing, a cricketer who played and it's different becoming an administrator. It's very hard because the reason is, one is you have to have the knowledge to the how to build a game. Like playing is different and building the game is a different matter. And you have to be a smart who knows everything and be an administrator. And next thing is, I said because a cricketer, because he doesn't put effort on, like, it's a voting system. Clubs, you have votes and everything. So you won't be favorable. So never a cricketer can be because it is like club who are secretaries or presidents in the club, they only become president of the cricket board one. So if I get, because I don't think that a president only can do everything. He has to get the best knowledge up, who understands the game, the cricketers who has to be in the cricket committee and make the game what are the difference you have to do. So like that, administration parties, you have to have a good CEO, professional one to manage the money. So like that, you have to have certain in that profession, you have to get people. So those people has to get one way, then you can manage it. But getting the talent of the winning and making money is 2 different things, right? Money, how much you invest, sometimes you won't even get talent. The talent is, you need players' talent and the commitment of the player. So that's what I said. Commitment of the player is more important, because individual who playing the national team or a team or any cricket, he has to have the desire and he has to put the effort and he has to win. Coaches only can tell the mistakes and everything, but the players has to do it in the middle. So the performance wise, you can say this cricket board is doing well and everything. So board president only can do is how much money he can get for the game and how much is spending and everything, balancing it. They have to do it. cricketers has to look at, and the cricket to design the game and everything, how to make the tournaments and everything. That's cricket committee has to do it. Who knows? So like that, you have to put people, because otherwise it. Now, before that, you ask the question why you have to innovate. See, innovation is not only the slinging or anything. If you want to be like, I'm just example again. When Aravinda comes on under 19, he joins the Sri Lankan cricket team. So he has played with the people who are in that category and everything. Now he has jumped into a category that higher. So you have to adjust, you have to innovate, right? And you have to be the situation there, and you have to play. Then 5 years he playing well, we say, then other team people also learn about him. How is he doing it and everything. When he come, you are playing to play the same people. 8 teams, like, you have to keep on playing with same people series by series. So you have to be different when you go sit next team if you want to perform. Otherwise, whatever you know, they know how to do it, how to tackle you. So always not like the unorthodox actions or playing the shots or anything, but you have to be upgrade your game. Like, computers upgrade every year. Same thing, players has to upgrade. Then only you can play for decades. Otherwise, you'll miss out in the game. So innovation is more important.
Thanks, Murali. To wrap up this session, I want to actually make mention of Mr. Kili Rajamahendran, who actually nurtured, including myself, job offers to cricketers and worked relentlessly in obtaining us test status in 1982. And of course, Mr. Rajamahendran was the former late chairman of Capital Maharaja. So we had benefactors who looked after us, gave us jobs, gave us pocket money to go and buy equipment. Aravinda, today, cricket infrastructure and support infrastructure becomes that much more important. Cricket boards are rich today. But you have a contrarian view that Sri Lanka is not doing enough in increasing the number of teams. I mean, can you just summarize and say for us, for young people of this country, for their talent to be discovered, what more can be done than what's happening today? Because we are in a bit of a dip at the moment in Sri Lanka cricket.
Yeah. So, well, I think I initially said that there were a lot of individuals who contributed towards the sport. And I must mention this story about Mr. Rajamahendran because he supported us a lot when the cricket board didn't have any funds to even recruit a coach or a trainer. So I remember when I was on my first tour, he in fact was in London, and we played Sussex, and I went out for dinner that night. I had a really I felt sick that night, and the test match was the following week, and I very well remember him coming to see me to the room, and when I said I was not well, and he sat next to my bed right through the night till about 2 or 3 in the morning, which I think was something. As the baby of the team, I felt there was a father sitting next to me, and that's the kind of support we got when we were young, and when we were coming through to play for Sri Lanka. So talking from that time to now, we were trying to figure out, because a lot of them are talking about reducing the number of clubs and making it more competitive in the domestic structure. But something we need to understand is they're saying that those days the game, the competition was much stronger because there were only 11 teams playing, so we need to reduce the number of clubs, but not realizing that at the time there were only 54 schools which were playing first 11 cricket at the under 19 level, and the number of kids who came out of first class cricket was only about 1,200 cricketers. So the 1,200 cricketers were able to spread amongst the 11 clubs. Maybe even if you have 20 25 cricketers per team or 30 cricketers, they were able to accommodate. But now the game has spread and got so popularized. We have about 550 schools playing at the first 11 level. And there are 9,800 kids who come out of all these schools at that under 19 level. So where are they going to play? If we reduce the number of clubs, we are unable to get these kids to or give them the opportunity to be exposed to some club cricket prior to getting into a much stronger division. So for that, I think the cricket board needs to try and support the number of clubs who are there to build the infrastructure more than anything else. What they require is the infrastructure to play cricket and enjoy the game before getting into a competitive level. So I think even to nurture their talent, I think that is where we lack our infrastructure being invested to make sure that the infrastructure, because there are 140 odd clubs, they reduced it to 60 odd, I heard recently. But these 60 odd clubs, out of the 60 odd clubs, only about maybe 15 to 20 clubs will have proper infrastructure to develop the game or give the support to the next generation. So it's very, very important and vital that the investment goes into the right areas to develop the infrastructure, and the categories of voting should be given to the clubs who provide the infrastructure, not on performance, because that is where we will be able to nurture and build the next generation.
Great. On that note, I hope the cricket administrators would listen to Aravinda's and Murali's advice. And I want to thank both of you for taking the time and having this wonderful conversation for the benefit of all those who are present today. Thank you very much.